Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast brought to you by the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney. I am joined by the Ty Capone. We are going to get into UFC 305 from Perth, Australia. Israel Adesanya trying to reclaim his 185 title once again against Dricus Du Plessis. Plenty of other fights on there. Steve Urseg, Robin Aaron. You know, there's a ton of different names. Kai Kara France. It's loaded with Australian and New Zealanders. We will give you every bit of information, bets, picks, predictions that you need to know. First, we're going to get into last weekend's card, the Sergey Spivak and Marcin Tybura main evented card. Yeah, that did happen. I don't know, maybe you were out there living your life, doing anything else but watching this whole card, but I sat and I watched the whole thing. For your guys' listening pleasures, we're going to get into that quickly. We're not going to spend too much time on a card that probably no one watched. But Ty, how are you feeling? Are you excited for this weekend's UFC card?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Izzy get back, going for the third title claim. I think it'll be the first time in middleweight history. I'm not sure about how many other times that's been done. I can't imagine it's been done much. Maybe John?
Maybe just because they kept stripping him of the title.
Yeah, he just kept beating people up. You know what I mean? They're like, all right. So I think other than him, maybe Randy Couture, but he jumped up between light heavyweight and heavyweight a lot. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him. I actually am very interested in this fight. I think it's, the line is close. I think it's going to be pretty close. I just don't know what Izzy has left. I don't know. He's getting old. It does look like he's locked in for this one, but other than that, the card doesn't look, it's not stacked, but you got Casey O'Neill, Luana Santos on the prelims, Hulabao Ramos on the prelims. I think the first couple fights to start the card aren't great, but after that, yeah, it kind of I like the main card at least. I mean, Li Jiang Liang, Carlos Prates is is a pretty good banger. And then you got two heavyweights. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad fight card at all. We've definitely seen worse. So, I mean, Did you see the UFC Edmonton card that they just dropped? Rose Namajunas, Aaron Blanchfield's the main event, and then Derek Lewis and Alexander Romanov is the co-main. I mean, that is just sad.
Let's take your wife out to dinner night. That's not that's not one where you really want to die on that hill trying to make sure you want to stay in and watch that card.
The people of Edmonton will not be scurrying to see that fight.
That's maybe like, let me flip on ESPN Plus to see the main event and see who wins that. Yeah, that's pretty much that's the extent of what's going to go on there. Ty, last weekend we did see Sergey Spivak make pretty easy work of Marcin Tybura. I will say I was a little worried. He got taken down pretty early on in that fight, but he just hunted that arm bar. And I don't know what Tybura was really doing. He kind of just let his arm hang out in there. And Sergey Spivak showed he's got, he can be dominant on top and he can, threaten from the back. And he was able to, get that arm bar. Not really much to say in that fight. It was kind of, minute 44 in the first round. It was kind of, there, it happened, and then it was done. Good win for Sergey.
Yeah. We talked about sub, and it was definitely something that we were considering, but then we're like, he's never been subbed, this and that. That was just a mistake on our part, something that we thought, this Marcin Tybura looked like a guy who'll never get subbed. No. But he had inside the distance, so we'll take it.
Yeah. And, we talked ourselves out of it, I believe, at the end of the breakdown last week.
Thank God. But, Spivak's rolling now. He's won 4 of his last 5. The only loss coming to Cyril Gane. He did get smoked, but that's a very, very tough matchup. It was also a year ago. Maybe he gets better. He's only, I think he's our age, 28, 29. So we'll see. You never know what could be next for some of these heavyweights. I don't see a high ceiling for him, but he could definitely be a top 10 guy. I mean, hey, they're probably penciling him in for some main events down the road already. Yeah. So.
Well, if they had him fighting in this main event, then there's no doubt that they'll probably have him penciled in for another Apex event somewhere down the road. How about Chepe Mariscal really putting on like a different performance than I was expecting? It was a lot of grappling, a lot of just he thrives in the chaos. And Damon Jackson, he kind of fought Damon Jackson's fight and really beat him at it. He beat him up. I thought he was going to get him out of there a few times. He just was not able to. Damon Jackson was just in the fetal position, taking shot after shot after shot. And
Yeah.
it was, I really thought I thought we were on the right side here. I think we had the right play. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, if it stayed standing for longer, I think it would have been easy work. I mean,
He kept
59-5
shooting
head
that
strikes.
takedown when he would get him hurt. I don't know if it was because he was tired or whatever, but he was
Maybe he
landing
wants to
a
just-
lot of shots, and then he would just take him down right away.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he just really wanted to get to the ground, kind of maybe defeat Damon Jackson mentally. Damon Jackson landed 26 body shots, 5 headshots, so that was pretty much what he tried to do. Chepe Mariscal, 48 ground strikes, 8.5 minutes of control, 5 of 7 on takedowns, 2 reversals. All around performance pretty much from Chepe. Looked good. The cardio looked good. He got a couple 30-25s. Mike Bell gave him a 30-26. Just dominated the leech and pretty much leeched him, I guess, if you will.
He really did just kind of put a like what he usually does to people in the grappling part, like just kind of overwhelms them. He really just overwhelmed Damon Jackson. It was a great performance by Chepe. Chepe continues to impress me every time he gets in the octagon. So another guy, how about this? A guy who kind of not didn't impress, but more kind of like the light got shined on him a little bit brighter, and you're like, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was. Danny Barlow, split decision. Really, he was taking some serious shots. The longer this fight went on, he was not able to get Mr. Nikolai out of there, and then he was, it was getting a little hairy there towards the end. And I'm surprised it was a split. I thought I thought he won the first 2 rounds, but
let's just talk about one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. Jaron Vallel, your boy, 30-27 Voletnikov.
I don't know where he saw that. Yeah,
incomprehensible. I don't even know what that was. He's the same guy who gave 30-27 Demopoulos when she fought Jin Yu Fry in a fight she arguably lost, gave her every single round. I don't know what. Again, this guy's a ref also. He's not just a judge. He's one of the judge refs that we have, and he is not good at anything. I don't know what that was. The first 2 rounds clearly went to Barlow. The third clearly went to Voletnikov. What else is there to be? What
not
more
really
do you
a conversation to be had after that. Yeah,
that was wild. That was so bad. But the fight itself, not great. I mean, Barlow just, he's kind of a little rudimentary with his. He just has that left hook. Voletnikov, not very good. I don't think. Just takes a while to get going. Doesn't really throw much volume out there. Yeah, not really. Nothing to see here, I guess.
Yeah, Danny Barlow's still, beginning his journy, so there's still time for him to obviously grow and develop. But it was just kind of a situation where you're like, oh wow, like you would have seen him get that guy out of there, or I guess not every guy is Josh Quinlan, so we have to kind of, rearrange our thought process there. But how about Chris Gutierrez really putting a beating on that front leg of Quang Bang Lee? Obviously, I can't believe that this guy was able to really survive this. But, I mean, Chris Gutierrez is kind of just a one-trick pony. That leg kick is nasty. And, he wasn't really able to hurt him otherwise. He had him limping around and everything. But I guess it's going to be tough. Unless he gets a leg kick knockout, it's not really going to be a viable TKO bet option.
Yeah, he pretty much goes the distance a lot. He got taken down a couple times by Mr. Quang Bang, but I think he was like 2 of 10, 2 of 11 on takedowns. Yeah, 32 leg strikes. Quang, I don't know if this guy's really ready for the big time, ready for the big show. Maybe you send him over to LFA or something. I wish that was an option. I wish you could send him down to AAA. Good performance from Gutierrez. Short-nosed opponent. Probably didn't really know nothing about this guy, but still, got the job done. And I don't think he really came close to a TKO necessarily, but definitely was in control the whole time.
Definitely beat the shit out of that leg. How about Giannis Santos getting that unanimous decision victory over Chelsea Chandler? This happened. Chelsea Chandler was sleepwalking for the first 2 rounds basically of this fight. So, and then she started walking forward.
Her.
Yeah, it's this did nothing for me. I was barely paying attention, to be honest.
Yeah, Yana walked through her easily. She smoked her, won every round. I think she got a couple 29-28s, but either way, I think
Chandler started to wait. Like she started to actually put pressure on her in the third, so that's probably why she won. But she didn't do anything with it. So
yeah, I wish I just had a Yana Santos bet, just as a anti Chelsea Chandler bet, but I did not. That's something I like to do, but I did not do that here, unfortunately. So
your boy Toshiomi Kazama, he makes right. He makes up for her lost time. Does what he needed to do. he triangle chokes your boy Charlampos.
After getting dropped.
Yeah, exactly. In a fight that I just, I could have cared less about this one as well. I'm glad we didn't play anything on this because there's no way I would have taken Kazama sub.
Yeah. No, but neither of these guys, are relevant at all.
No, Karol Hossa beats Kapani Kianzad. Fight was basically standing up for a majority of the fight.
Easy work.
Yeah, it didn't even
Bust
come
their
close
face
to
up.
getting my sub or anything like that I wanted. So there you go. How about this one was a little bit of a shock. Jonathan Denise beat the dog shit out of Carl Williams, man. He was on top. He was landing bombs on him. Carl Williams got exposed a little bit on Saturday night.
Yeah, he got a couple takedowns, but it seemed like he really wanted to kind of strike with him, and that was
Mistake,
especially in the first round. Yeah, that was a big mistake. The first 2 rounds, he outstruck him in the third round, but when he finally got some takedowns, but it didn't matter. I think it was already over from there. Carl Williams just very basic. I think game.
Yeah,
I think he has a decent little wrestling, but if you're a guy who wrestles and doesn't do damage, doesn't get any finishes, I don't, especially at heavyweight, I don't really know what your ceiling is. So, unfortunate for Mr. Carl Williams, he does not get the victory here. Pretty good win for Janice. We'll see what he's got next. He looks like he can be somewhat of a decent little fighter at heavyweight. We'll see though.
Yeah, heavyweights. If you're gonna be that kind of level of skill, heavyweights the way you want to break in because it's real barren wasteland up the higher up you go. So Yusuf Zalal with a rear naked choke in the first round. He kind of made that look easy. This is a tough day for your Jarno Aaron's moneyline bet. It is what it is.
I saw a lot of people who had Zalal sub, and I was like, yeah, maybe I can see it. Aaron's doesn't have the best submission defense, and Yusuf Zalal has some sneaky little trips and grappling chops, and man, he got the back, and Jarno Aaron's didn't even try to fight anything. He just was like, all right, yeah, here you go. And rear naked choke for Yusuf Zalal, good win, good hit. I think it was like plus 400 or 500, maybe even more for a sub. So shout out to everybody who had that. I wish I looked more into it because it was definitely there for the taking, but I ignored it. I have a couple sub bets this weekend that look promising, so hopefully I can make up for it.
Stephanie Luciano gets the W against Talita Alencar. It's it's the most biggest lock. I should have just laid all the money down on Stephanie Luciano. That girl Alencar is bad. She's
awful.
Bad.
Terrible.
She has no business being in the UFC if she wasn't a 115-pound woman. So it's just it is what it is. Good win for Stephanie Luciano. I don't think Stephanie's that bad. I don't think she's that good either, though. So we're gonna have to see the farther she gets into this game.
Her nickname is Rondina. I hope that doesn't mean like Little Rhonda.
I really hope not. really hope not.
Also, Toledo Alencar's nickname. Do you know what it is?
No.
The problem child. So
I
think there's only room for one problem child in the space of fighting. And I mean, if Toledo Alencar wants to get in there with Jake Paul, I think we know how that one will go.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Yeah, she is not very good, and I don't see the allure at all. And also, I think she's a little older. She's like 32, 33. So it's like, what are we really doing here? Send her back to RFA, LFA, or what's the female promotion? Invicta. Is Invicta still around?
I don't think so. I think they
closed up shop. Yeah. Jinx. But good win.
Let's keep it moving then, Ty. That was UFC. I don't know who won awards.
Vegas 95.
Yeah, Vegas 95. I don't even know who won awards or what happened.
Nobody won shit.
It doesn't matter. Nothing was worthy of anything. Did
you watch any of that boxing that I told you about?
I did not watch what was it, Baranchuk? Baranchuk?
Boachuk.
Yeah.
There's a Baranchuk, but this is Boachuk.
There's Boachuk. I did watch that guy, the one that was on ESPN, that guy Leo.
Leo.
Just dispatched that guy. I mean, had sent him out in a body bag. He was plus 300.
Yeah, so I had the wrong underdog. I had Sergey Boachuk, who actually almost won, and I did not have Luis Alberto. I had Luis Alberto Lopez, I should say. It was a close fight. He's so susceptible to get knocked out with that. He just has his hands down. He leaps in. He has that unconventional, awkward style, kind of like Emmanuel Navarrete, except Navarrete is a little bit better, I would say. But either way, man, those boxers that have those awkward styles that don't really protect their head or at all, have no defense, those guys are always going to get fraud checked.
Yeah.
And he got fraud checked. Not to say he's a fraud, but, he now has 3 losses, and they're pretty much to, the best guys he's fought. His best win was maybe Joet Gonzalez, but that was a decision. It was a pretty close fight. Beat the shit out of Josh Warrington. Actually, went to a close fight with Josh Warrington, who's a bum. So I think the writing was somewhat on the wall for El Venado. And then Angelo Leo in his hometown, El Chinito. Angelo Leo in, I believe it was New Mexico, right? Albuquerque, New Mexico, yeah. Dude, just dispatches him with that left hook.
Yeah.
Sees the lazy jab and counters it with a beautiful left hook. That was just beautiful.
Left my man staring at the lights, dude. He didn't know what happened.
The referee's like 9, and he's like still on the ground. Like, all right, bro, we can stop
end
counting.
The count. It's over. Yeah,
no more, no more counting. Once we get to 5, if this man's not moving, if he looks like a gecko on his back, it's over, bro. Just stop the count. So that was really good, really cool to see Angelo Leo get the win. He only has 1 loss, and that was to Stephen Fulton 3 years ago. And Stephen Fulton's pretty solid. Obviously got smoked by Inoue, but everybody does. And we hadn't seen Leo in a couple months. This was his 3rd fight this year, but he wasn't able to get a big time fight after the Fulton loss. So this is good to see. Tom Brake has another good one. He's only 30 years old. 126, I should say, is very good. Maybe you see him fight Fulton again. I don't know if that's necessary. I don't really know what Stephen Fulton wants to do. I thought he said before he wanted to fight Inoue again. I was like, all right, bro, let's move on. Nick Ball, Ronnie Rios just got made at 126. That's going to be a really good fight. Nick Ball is the guy who barely beat our boy Ray Ford from Camden.
Oh, right, yeah.
Rafael Espinoza is a champ at 126. He's the one who I believe beat one of the biggest upsets of last year, beat Robesi Ramirez. So Ray Vargas, Brandon Figueroa, 126 is very, very good. So we'll see what Angelo Leo has now, what he can do. He's got the IBF belt. Maybe he goes after Espinoza for the WBO. Let the other guys figure it out. Maybe he moves up. I'm not sure. 130 is pretty weak, but that was awesome. And then the co-main, real quick, just to go through it. Lindolfo Delgado beats Brian Flores, split decision. That was an all-out war. Lindolfo Delgado got everything he could handle from the plus 400 underdog Brian Flores, but he gets the split decision victory. Our boy Vito Milnecki, 2nd round stoppage. The corner walked into the ring and had to help our boy Laszlo Toth out. They're like, yo, time to go home, brother. So it was a pretty good card, honestly. I think the entirety of the undercard prelims were just full of guys getting fucking put out the pasture. So that's always fun.
You never can complain when you're watching dudes just get stretchered out of the ring and just with the oxygen masks out. Everyone's worried. I'll never ever forget Ashton Silva getting Joe Martinez saying, "Please restore him to health." I was like, I turned it on. I actually wasn't watching it live, and I'm like, what? Did he die? Like, what happened? I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I would probably be begging for him to be restored to health too. Holy shit, man! The guy got killed. But
praying for his life on the microphone. Never seen a guy do that. Real quick, Virgil Ortiz gets a split over majority decision over Sergey Boachuk. Got knocked down twice, technically. They went in the 3rd round or 4th. They went back and called a non-knockdown a knockdown. I've never seen that before, but I'm glad they did. It just took there was a 45-second delay before the start of round 4, and everyone just standing around. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, oh, there was a knockdown in the 1st round. So it was good that they, went back and corrected it, but still a little wonky, a little awkward. Ortiz looked good, but he turned it up in the last 4 rounds. That's really where I think he won 9, 10, 11, and 12 on almost all of the judges' scorecards. So good for him to do that. Now he puts himself right in the thick of it for the Terrence Crawford fight. I don't think he fares well in that fight. I really don't. I think Boachuk when Boachuk was pressing forward, he was doing really well. Terrence Crawford does that, it's curtains. So I do like Virgil Ortiz. He does have a nice little fan base behind him, but I'm still not a big time believer in him. He's only 26, so 10, 11 years younger than Crawford. But I think that's who now His Excellency is going to try to push him for a fight there. Charles Conwell in the co-main got a nice 2nd round knockout. Good to see him bounce back. Kenneth Sims Jr., big time prospect, beat the brakes off of this Venezuelan kid. Fundora's sister won. What else happened? Was there anybody else? I thought there was another prospect on this card. There was not. So it was honestly boxing overtook UFC for the weekend. Like I predicted, I guess you could say. So good night for boxing.
Good night for boxing, and then we now take our focus back to the UFC. UFC 305, right? Is that the right number? I still hope so. UFC 305 from Perth, Australia. What is this arena that we're in? The RAC arena.
RAC? Yeah.
The rack. Yeah, we're in the rack.
We love a rack.
Sure, we sure do. This fight card's supposed to start at 6:30 Eastern, it says. That would be that's a nice little start time. 12 fights on the card, Ty. It is headlined by Dricus Du Plessis heading into enemy territory. He is defending his 185 title. He is going against Israel Adesanya, the two-time former UFC middleweight champion of the world. He is going to, like you said, become the second man. He's attempting to become the second man to be a three-time champion, I guess, which is only Randy Couture is what I read. They tried to say Adesanya was already, but he's not. He would only be a two-time champion. Randy Couture is a three-time champion, I believe.
Couture, do a good pull for me.
I guess I don't know if they count the other ones because I googled it. Now that's what UFC three-time champions, and it said Adesanya and Couture, but Adesanya wouldn't be one. I guess Cormier and all them, I guess Cormier could technically be considered one, but he's kind of handed the belt. Right? Yeah, I guess at the same weight class, it would probably only be Randy Couture. But off of that, Dricus Du Plessis is a plus 100 underdog to Israel Adesanya's minus 120, 110. It's kind of right down the middle, right close to even money. So they really don't know who's going to win this fight. The last time we saw Israel Adesanya was not a great performance, obviously. He was
in a while
kind of embarrassed. Yeah, he took a little bit of time off. That was September, so basically a year off. And he's not known for taking lots of long periods of time off after losses or wins or anything. He's kind of been one of the more active. That's the one thing you can't take away from him. He's been extremely active, especially since he's been in the championship conversation. Dricus Du Plessis then took the championship off of. He obviously lost to Sean Strickland the last time out. Lost almost 50 to 45, probably 49-46. I think he won the one round, that being Adesanya. Dricus came out and he won a real close split decision against Sean Strickland in January, and he has not fought since. He is now fighting Israel Adesanya. Ty, I got to say right away, I don't know if I thought this the whole time, but I definitely think it now. I mean, this seems like the perfect matchup for Israel Adesanya. It always has. I don't know if Dricus really has that game to kind of. I mean, I guess he's going to have to make it just chaos, dirty, sloppy. Just try to get in the pocket, but maybe get a couple takedowns. I don't know. Like if he's going to stand on the outside like anyone he does against Israel, he's going to get killed. I don't know if he can implement a game plan similar to what Sean Strickland did, or if he has that kind of good volume boxing sort of game plan style to really take down Israel Adesanya. This seems like an easy kind of Israel code. Maybe he gets him out of there. I don't know, but I feel like this is like an Israel decision written all over it.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. I know the line's very close. I see a lot of people on Dricus. The only thing that kind of deters me is I guess some things that we don't really know, like how much is he won it. Now, I do think he's going to be locked in for this fight because
he don't like him.
He doesn't like him. No, for sure. And he did take some time off, like he said he was going to do. But he is starting to get older. He really relies on his speed and movement. Those are the first things to go. But I still think he has a little juice left in him. He's only 35. He's not 37. And if he keeps this at a kickboxing range, man, he's going to smoke DDP. I think Dricus is definitely awkward. He's not the most aesthetically pleasing to watch. Very wonky, but he's super fucking strong. He hits super hard, and he has that pressure. He's a big dude, man. Just looking at him, his shoulders, his back. He's a big guy. So if he pretty much wants to be in Izzy's face, keep it in his face, mix in some takedowns, regardless how successful he is. I think he can get a couple, but Alex Pereira hit a blast double on Izzy in the fight that he beat him. taken down 4 times by Whitaker, taken down 4 times by Vettori, taken down 3 times by Blachowicz. So he's not, he doesn't have the best takedown defense, but he's not that bad. I think he's also
And
gotten
he
a lot
gets
better.
back up.
Gets back up. His get up game is pretty good. And I know Dricus took down Sean, I think, like 6 times, but much different fighters here. And also that fight was very close, very, very close. Yeah. MMA math doesn't work here. I think Dricus is going to lose this fight. I think Izzy reclaims his middleweight throne and establishes himself as maybe not the best, but I think the argument could be made the best middleweight of all time. I got Israel Adesanya money line. Lock it in. I was thinking of taking TKO. Probably it's a little. I don't know if it's a reach because I think his speed advantage. He does have power. I think he's a better all around striker. And Dricus, we've seen him a lot of times reach, overextend, kind of be off balance. Look a little awkward. I don't think he's ever been dropped. Remember, he got hurt by Derek Brunson a little bit after he expended all his energy on that takedown. So maybe the cardio can play a factor here. If he tries to overexert himself wrestling, maybe Izzy can take control, or if Izzy wants to beat up that lead leg, I think that would be a huge. That's pretty much how you should start this fight: beat up the lead leg, slow him down even more, and then from there it's probably target practice. But just can't let Dricus get inside on him, and that's exactly what he let Sean do. So I understand the line, I understand the back and forth, but I have a lot of confidence in Adesanya to get this done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I might take it on the side just as a TKO bet, just to have, because I really do believe that, like you said, the longer this fight goes on, I feel like Dricus, I'm still scarred from watching him huff and puff in that second round against Darren Till. Now, he was able to bounce back and win the third round and submit him in the third round, but there's a couple times in these Dricus fights, even the Sean Strickland fight, where you're like, oh my God, is he he might be completely gassed. He does hit his second win, but in that little window, you can really put some points on him and really put some damage on him, and maybe Israel could find a way to get him out of there. Dricus is kind of sloppy. He has not really fought an elite striker, of the caliber of Israel Adesanya, probably since he's been on the come up. I mean, Sean Strickland is not the same kind. Robert Whitaker, that's not the same. Derek Brunson, don't even talk about it. Darren Till,
Good boy.
Yeah, like Darren Till has a left hand. He's so basic. It's other than that, he hasn't really fought anyone. And I just have I really feel good. And anyone who's listening to this podcast knows I'm not the Israel Adesanya guy. I fucking can't stand him, to be honest. I don't like him.
Yeah,
I don't like him at all. But this is just a prime spot for him to, this is a prime matchup. Just everything is, the stars are aligned. If he loses this, he should retire. I really believe that. So there you go. Israel Adesanya money line.
Put some respect on Robert Soldich's name. Dricus beat him, and then he got beat by him the next fight. So just pointing that out. Dricus has not fought anybody with the combination of skills that Israel Adesanya has, in my opinion. And in your opinion, I'm with you. I would line this much closer to minus 200 than minus 120. You know what I mean? But maybe he comes out here and looks a little gun shy.
Yeah,
and just doesn't pull the trigger as much, gets backed up a little bit. Dricus has him against the cage. He pretty much should just study the Sean Strickland fight and maybe, talk to Sean Strickland and be like, yo, how should I beat Izzy? That's how Alex Pereira beat him too when he stopped him in MMA. Just had him up against cage. So, I don't want to discount him too much, but I really do feel like overall Izzy is, minus 175-ish.
Yeah, and I really want to take this TKO. I'm trying. Tell me I shouldn't.
No, I think it's possible, especially mid-late rounds. I think if Dricus, even if he does have some success with takedowns, even if he's winning the fight 30-27, I think he's going to get tired. If he doesn't get Izzy out of there and he overexerts himself with the wrestling, I think Izzy's going to he's going to be there for Izzy to tee off on. Like, dude, he was running away from Till and Brunson at certain points of those fights. I know he turned it up for sure. He's a dog, Dricus is, and he's probably this might be the best version of him that we see. So it might be a little unfair for me to say that, but I don't know, man. Still, I don't think I still think he has a lot of, I don't want to say quit in him, but I think he has a lot of technical disadvantages.
Yeah.
I'll say.
I'll leave the money line in there. I'll stay away from the TKO for now. I may on the side take that, but you know what it is though. I just can't trust Adesanya. I still can't.
Yeah.
You know, as much as he's the better guy, but to get a TKO is a completely different animal. I mean, who are the only people that he's really TKO? I mean, Whitaker, Pereira, obviously, but other than that, it was like what Paulo Costa, who doesn't even really count.
He was drunk.
Yeah, it was hammered the whole time. So. It's hard to really, exactly. Like he's not as much of a kickboxer and dominant striker that he has been. He's not really like your classic finisher. He a couple of those Jared Cannonier, which he probably should have got him at. There's just a lot of real like lulls in this resume. The Whitaker, the second fight, Vittori, that fight was boring. It's just. You can go through here. Even the getting taken down by Jan Blachowicz, that Yoel Romero fight was yuck. But there you go. Let's keep it moving. How about Kai Kara France, 24-11 against Steve Erceg. Erceg making his first appearance since basically he blew a championship. Not even opportunity. He had the title in his hands. And he just choked it off, like you said.
What was it? He went for a takedown?
Yes, right? Yes. He was beating the shit out of him. He went for a takedown, got reversed, ended up on the bottom. Started getting backpacked and everything, and then lost that fifth round. Which I think two of the scorecards ultimately dictated that's what the fight came down to. And he lost that. So that's tough, but he's right there. I think he's probably one or two fights away from maybe getting another title shot again. Steve Erceg is a minus 175, 190 favorite to Kai Kara France's plus 145, 155. Now, Ty, I've never been a big fan of Kai Kara France. I don't think he's that good. I think he's too small. I think obviously he's 24-11. He's been cracked and knocked out a few times. He's been submitted. He's pretty easily finished. He's been finished 6 times of those 11 fights. Last time we saw him, he lost to Amir Albazi, which I thought he won that fight.
I thought he won it, yeah.
But that's it is what it is. Brandon Moreno before that kind of cooked him. He had a little bit of success, but he hasn't really been as active of recent. One fight in 22, or I'm sorry, 2 fights in 22, but then 1 fight in 23, and now we are a year plus after that. Amir Albazi fight. I guess he tried to fight Manel Kopp. That's when the inferior DNA conversation was going on. And your whole team is a bunch of, that's when that happened. Yeah. So now we are a year plus removed from that. Like we said, Steve Erceg earlier this year lost a very close 5-round fight. That experience in itself is probably going to be, worth its weight in gold. I could not be more of a fan or a supporter of Steve Erceg, even as just a gambling, aspect. This guy has every skill you could possibly want. He's a finisher. He may not. He may not finish. He couldn't finish David Dvorak and Alessandro Costa. He eliminated Matt Schnell, whatever. But he came very close to getting Alexander Pantoja out of there a few times and had him hurt a few times. He has all the skills. He's got submissions. He's got KOs. He's got hands. I'm taking him. I think I'm going to take him inside the distance.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a fight that I'm not sure. I think Erceg is probably the better boxer, probably the better grappler. I do think KKF might be more well-rounded striker with kicks and whatnot, but he's been off for a while. I'm just really not sure how he's going to do here. I know Erceg. There's a bad track history of fighters coming off of a title loss, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. But he's a little different than a lot of guys. He seems like he internally and mentally has it. It's hard to really quantify, but he just feels like he's ready for the moment. He's not going to just shit the bed or be down on himself. His fight IQ obviously has been inconsistent, but you live and you learn, right? That's Alexander Pantoja. Tough. I just think Kai Kara France is probably. I know he's only 31, but I think his best days are probably just behind him.
He does not take a punch well.
No, he doesn't have the best striking defense. He sometimes has a volume issue. Wrestling and grappling wise, don't trust him whatsoever there.
No.
Steve Erceg's much taller. Doesn't have a reach advantage at all, but those long man chokes could be there. So I think I'm probably just going to stay away from this, but I will be rooting for whatever you have. I think maybe there's a chance Urseg hurts him. He's got a quick little left hook, quick straight shot, and like you said, KKF, not the best chin, not the best durability in general. So I think it's a good play, honestly. But
Yeah.
it's funny, Urseg was like in the 200 range. Now he got steamed down to minus 165. So a lot of money coming in late on Kai Kara France. Sometimes that stuff matters to people. I don't really care. I'm just gonna focus on what I think is going to happen, and I'm with you. I think Urseg gets it done.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never trusted him. That being Kai Kara France in any situation, he let me down in that Albazi fight, and it really necessarily wasn't his fault. But I just this is more of like I'm just a fan of Steve Urseg, and I like his game, and I think it matches up well with Kai Kara France. I could see a world where maybe Kai Kara France edges a decision, and like that fight IQ comes back to bite him. But I'm gonna bet good money that Urseg has learned from that mistake that he made in that fight, and that's kind of been eating him alive. And a couple of the interviews I've heard, he has made mention of that he kind of is the one that blew that. And I think you're going to see just the best version of him in this fight, and I'm counting on it. So, Steve Urseg, inside the distance, plus 330, Ty. That's quite a number that we're getting right
Long
here.
live the Veil.
Long live the Veil, dude. Keep fighting for them. How about Dan Hooker, your boy? Actually, we both love Dan Hooker. Plus 270, 290 here, underdog against Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot is the number 5 ranked fighter in the lightweight division. What is he? Minus 340, 375, 350 here, Ty. I don't know. I never know what to think about Mateusz Gamrot. He sometimes is a world beater, sometimes looks normal and average. I think this is probably a good matchup for him in the grappling department. Dan Hooker can somewhat defend himself, but Mateusz has shown to be a powerful grappler against good grapplers and good opponents. And he keeps up a insane pace. I think he can take some damage. He just kind of worked over Rafael dos Anjos, which that's not all that shocking. Beating Jalen Turner. The loss to Beneil Dariush was tough, but he did beat Arman Sarukian. That was a tough, close fight. Arman Sarukian's gonna be fighting for the title soon, so that win keeps gaining value as the years go on. Dan Hooker is just kind of, I don't know. It seems like he's been submitted 3 times. He's been KO'd 3 times, and he's got double-digit losses on the record.
Yep.
He also beat Jalen Turner in a fight where he broke his arm, I believe, and just kept fighting. But before that, he knocked out or body kicked Claudio Puelles. I don't know. Islam with the Kimura. I've seen him get subbed and kind of get dominated on the ground in instances. I think this could be a spot where we might be able to get a Gamrot sub.
Yeah, he has a Kimura on his record. Gamrot does against Jeremy Stevens, and Hooker was Kimura'd by Islam Makhachev. So that's definitely something that you could maybe look at that, and you look at the takedowns. That Gamrot has an elite low single, very elite low single. I don't think he has looked that great lately. He's been dropped in 4 of his last fights, and then you have the fight with Fiziev that ended in injury. So his technique doesn't always look good. The optics don't look great at times. He looks sometimes desperate for takedowns, and then he'll get cracked.
Yeah.
Dan Hooker's striking defense is pretty much relying on his chin. So Gamrot hits hard. He doesn't have the best striking, but he hits hard. So got to watch that for Hooker. Not the easiest to take down. He was very close to a rear naked choke on Jalen Turner last fight. Got to watch it for the long man chokes. The knees up the middle are going to be big for Hooker, especially with somebody coming in for takedowns. I don't know, man. I kind of like Dan Hooker in this spot. It's kind of like a feeling I get with Dan Hooker here. I think there's definitely a path where he just gets wrestle fucked, taken down, and decisions, maybe subbed. I think I'd like Dan Hooker TKO plus 800.
Wow, I like that too.
I don't think it's a bad line.
This might be an instance where you could probably play both. I mean, you're going to win money either way, so why not just have them both on there? I mean, you're going to get Hooker TKO at plus 900 here.
Yeah, and he knocked out Puelles, but that was a guy he was much better than. He finished James Vick a long time ago, but this is a guy he was much better than. So Gilbert Burns a while ago. So it's not like he's been finishing guys lately. He's been losing some fights too, but I think this is a pretty decent spot for him.
He took some time off.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. He's 34. Gamrot's 33. I don't feel too great, but he is taller, has a 5-inch reach advantage, and again, I think he's got some weapons that can kind of throw a wrench into the wrestling game plan of Gamrot. We'll see. I think Gamrot's probably. I mean, he's definitely going to get some takedowns, right? It's almost a lock for him to get a couple at least. But what does he do with those takedowns?
Yeah.
How much top time does he get? Does he go for a sub? Does he get reversed? Maybe Dan Hooker gets a sub. I doubt it, but Dan Hooker's very, very well rounded. His chin sometimes is good, sometimes it's not. Sometimes his striking defense, he just doesn't want to have any. He doesn't have any at all. I don't know. Definitely, both guys are a little inconsistent. I'm going to go Dan Hooker. I like that number, TKO. Let's see.
Why not? This is kind of a let's see fight. It's really don't have a strong inclining either way. I just am going to bet on the fact that Mateusz Gamrot's game, it just relentless wrestling. There is a world, though, where he gasses himself out or he gets cracked coming in for one of those with a knee, and he just starts wobbling all around. We've seen Gamrot start wobbling all around the cage before. So anything...
dropped 4 of his last fights been knocked down.
Yeah, anything can happen.
RDA, man, that fight was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
That fight should not have been sketchy whatsoever.
Shouldn't have been.
And it was. I remember I had Gamrot moneyline just in a parlay. I'm like, man,
dude, are you fucking kidding me,
good.
man? Is this going to really happen like that?
Yeah.
There's no worse feeling than that when you're like, I'll just throw this in as extra, and he's like minus 400, 500, and then the guy starts doing chicken dance. You're like, are you fucking kidding me, man? This was supposed to be the lock.
I believe I had Turner against him. Turner dropped him, could have finished him. I believe he slow played it. It might have been at the end of the round, and then Gamrot comes out and wins a split decision, very close. But he does fight in very close margins. When he fought Guram in his debut, it was a split decision with L. So I don't know. We'll see.
How about Tai Tuivasa? Bam Bam getting back in there here at home in Australia versus Jairzinho. Jairzinho coming off of that big win against Gaziv, where he just destroyed him and then made him retire in the corner. Said, no more, I have no more. And that was it. He got rear naked choked by Jalton Almeida before that. But Tai Tuivasa has had a couple of rough nights out there. He definitely knocks people out, but he is on a 4-fight losing streak where he was finished in all 4 tie. I have a feeling that maybe that might continue here.
Oh man, if it does, he's definitely going to be jobless, right? So, going out on bottom, not on top, on bottom in Australia, that would suck for him. Jalton, the thing with Jalton is he's pretty much been going back and forth, win-loss, win-loss, win-loss.
Jairzinho.
So, yes. What did I say, Jalton?
Jalton. I fucked you up by saying Jalton Almeida before that.
No, I was looking, I don't know. Tuivasa is only 31. Seems kind of crazy. Jairzinho's 36. He's starting to slow down a little bit. I think this could be one of 2 fights. Just absolute, let's bang each other until one of us goes to sleep, right? Or they just stare at each other for 15 minutes, And I think Rosenstruik, he is more patient. He has some leaping hooks and return kicks, but again, he's not somebody that's just going to go forward like that. Tuivasa is, though. He's got that huge left hook. He's got some good kicks. Elbows off the clincher really big. Apparently, he's been growing weed lately, Tai Tuivasa. So I don't know if his head is in the right place here, or how many places it's in. This is just a weird fight. It's just a weird fight. I mean, it's a good one, right? Tuivasa being the underdog makes sense, but it's not too big. He's not too big of an underdog. I'm going to stay away. I don't really have a good read on this. If I did lean in one direction, it would probably be Tuivasa knockout. I wonder what he had, plus 200, and Jairzinho is minus 150. Minus 150 for Jairzinho knockout.
No.
I get it. He hits hard, and I think Tuivasa has kind of like a defensive issue, maybe not necessarily a chin issue. He just gets hit a lot. I don't know. So I'm just going to stay away.
I have a pick here. I do.
All right.
I am going to go Rosenstruik by decision plus 750 here. I'm hunting a lot of big props, but the way I look at it is one of these has to hit, and it'll make it all worth it. Rosenstruik has really pissed me off as of recent. I mean, that Gaziv was basically huffing and puffing for the last 3 rounds of that fight, and he didn't do anything with it. Like he was beating him up, but the guy had to basically say, "I quit." He couldn't even knock him out or knock him down, and actually get him out of there. I think he knocked him down a few times, but I'm just saying, like, he didn't actually hurt him bad enough to end the fight. Yes. I could see Tai Tuivasa maybe getting cracked and really getting hurt here, but I also think he might be a little bit more cautious given the fact that of the last couple times out. I mean, the last couple times out he got subbed pretty early on, but even before that, Pavlovich had him out of there in a minute. I just think Rosenstrike, like you said, is a very patient striker. I could see this fight kind of, like you said, with them staring at each other, maybe a couple big moments here and there, but I could also see the fight ending in 1 minute. So that's a reason why this is plus 750, but you got to take a shot somewhere.
Got to do it, right? I took a shot on Hooker knockout, so I don't hate it.
Why not? What is next on here? I believe it is
Prates.
I believe it is Carlos Prates. Let's go Prates. I like that one. I like that better. I don't care if that's how he actually says his name. Against the Leech, Li Jiangliang. I still feel bad for this guy. The night that he was supposed to fight, I think that was the Tony Ferguson card, right? Was it 279?
Or no, it was supposed to be Ferguson, and then it was supposed to be that whole card got fucking.
What was the one where he was on a card and he had like a nice suit on, and then he didn't get to wear the suit? I remember that's where I felt bad for him.
It might have been that 279.
It might have been, and then like they wound up finding a fight for him, and then he lost the split decision. But we haven't seen him since then. That was the last time he fought.
Yeah, it's been a while since he fought D-Rod. That was September 10th, right? 79. Diaz Ferguson. Oh man, I completely forgot that was the main event, and Hamzat and Holland was the co-main event. That's right. And they kind of just switched everything because it was supposed to be Holland and D-Rod, right? Let's look at this. It was Aljo was supposed to fight Dillashaw, and Dillashaw's shoulder blew up. It was supposed to be Nate and Chimaev. Chimaev missed weight by like 5 weight classes.
Yes.
Li Jiangliang got rebooked. D-Rod, Kevin Holland. Yeah. So, what a weird card that was. Jesus Christ. Our boy Johan Lainez started off with a win. Johan Lainez starts a card off with a win. That's how you know things are going downhill. So. I'll start this off. I think Li Jiangliang, the Leech, is a hardcore fan favorite. I think some casuals don't really respect him.
Agreed.
Kind of new to the scene, but remember, this guy knocked out Salikov, Ponzinibbio, Elijah Zaleski. He's dropped a lot of guys. Last time he was down under, though, he was fighting down under, he got absolutely steamrolled by Jake Matthews. Like I said, almost 2 years layoff. I think he's had a neck spine issue. That gives me a lot of pause.
Yep.
It's just not shit like that is not good. It's not good if you want to rake the leaves in the summertime, in the fall. Let alone get in there with somebody like Carlos Prates, who's got a 7-inch reach advantage, super long for this weight class. He's somebody that kind of makes his reads, kind of starts slow, makes his reads,
kicks.
Then he starts snubbing from the outside. Good kicks, good front kicks. Could lose a round, get outpaced a little bit, but once he finds his timing, he's very Anderson Silva-like. I know this seems like very lofty comparison, but just the way his style is, the way he moves, the way he strikes, the way he snipes from the outside, sometimes has his hands down. It looks like he's playing around, but really he's dialed in, he's locked in, and he hits hard, man. That Trevin Giles fight, I remember I was watching him like, all right, I think he gets him out of there at some point randomly, but it's starting to look, I got a little worried, and then boom, out, gone, fight's over. So I think this kind of goes like that too. I just think the Leech is probably done, man. He's 36 years old. Again, having neck and spinal issues, not good. His last fight was against D-Rod. He loses a close fight, a close split, but D-Rod's very low level in my opinion. Knocked out Salikov, but nothing, Salikov's about 57 years old, I think. So I'm going to go Prates, KO, TKO, minus 110. Let me know if you can get a better number at McSweeney. McSweeney
OSB. What do we have here? We got Prates TKO at plus 100.
So even money.
I really want to stay away from this, but I think you're right. Unfortunately, I think that the 2 year layoff combined with the neck thing, and combined with the fact that this guy is just so much longer than him and more explosive. I guess I don't even know if like the grappling would be the way for Li Jiangliang to really have success. I don't think he wants to stand and strike, so I really struggle in my head to try to figure out how is he going to win this fight. So that's why I think I'm gonna roll with you. I think I'm gonna go Prady's TKO.
Let's get it.
So now we must move on to the next. This is the prelim section of what we got going on here, I believe. Right? That was the last main.
I believe this is the start.
Oh boy!
The Battle of the Brothers.
Here we go.
Battle of the Bastards, if you will.
Walter Walker making his second fight. Last time did not go the way that we had expected, the way that we wanted, obviously.
Yep.
He's fighting Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa is 5-2. That guy kind of stinks. We're not sure. We don't know. The Juggernaut, I guess is his nickname now.
Sure.
Whatever. He got destroyed by Marcos Rogerio de Lima last time. His leg kicked off his body.
That was crazy. He was still, somewhat standing and still trying to fight through it. But yeah, he doesn't check leg kicks, I guess, at all. He doesn't really know. He's like Mark Hunt. He's more like Mark Hunt than his brother. I think Justin Tafa is the real bum. I don't think Junior's great, but I think he offers a little bit more than Justin does. And then Walter Walker, I think, is the worst, obviously, of the two brothers. It's funny. He fights nothing like his brother.
No,
he's
the Clean Monster? Yeah.
The Clean Monster. He's a grinder. But, dude, losing – I know it's your debut, but losing to Lucas Brzeski,
there's no excuse for it.
Big red flag. No excuse for it. And, just watching him fight, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't like watching him fight. I only watched him fight once, and I was very, put to sleep, if you will, by his performance. I don't know, man. Justin Tafa, again, not great. He'll knock out the Parker Porters of the world. It's his only UFC win. He also lost to Muhammad Usman. So, what are we even really doing here, I guess, is my question. Walter Walker's probably just going to shoot takedowns, and I'm assuming he's probably going to get one or two. I mean, again, it's a striker versus grappler. They're just both bad. Both of them are very bad at what they can't do.
I don't know how he lost to Lucas Brzeski. That's
well, he stinks. So that's how he lost to Lucas Brzeski, by being a stiff. Tafa TKO is plus 125. I guess you can get Walker decision at plus 275. Tafa TKO plus 125. I don't know what I said, but I'm going to go Junior Tafa TKO plus 125. I think he's just a much better striker. The fight starts standing. He seems pretty strong. If it gets any kind of grappling situation against the cage or anything, he's probably going to go down. So I don't love that. But whatever. Let's get a quick knockout here of the Clean Monster. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I also am going to take that as well. Plus 135 is what you can get here on the OSB. Listen, Walter Walker, Brzeski is the ultimate measuring stick, as people have said in UFC. If you want to be a champion, you got to go through Brzeski, and he couldn't beat him. So Lucas Brzeski, I've seen him do all sorts of. I've seen him hit the nay. I've seen him hit the stanky leg in there.
Come on.
I've seen him hit the shoot. He was hitting that shit in there. Enough's enough. If you can't beat him, then I'm never gonna bet you, or I'm gonna fade you every single time. This is more of an anti-Walter Walker bet.
I believe you said when he fought Mick Parkin, he did. I just want to rolly with a dab of ranch. is what he started hitting.
Started hitting SpongeBob in there. Let's be real about this for a second. That's that.
Oh my
L
God.
City. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Junior Tafa is gonna knock him the fuck out. How about? We got next. We got Josh Culibao and Ricardo Ramos.
Good fight.
How old is Ricardo Ramos now?
Probably 30.
Yeah, he's
29.
still a young
So he's
kid.
younger
Yeah.
than Culibao.
It's crazy.
Cool, yeah.
It feels like he's been in the UFC forever. I mean, when did he make his UFC debut?
Probably like 2018-ish.
2017. Beginning of 2017. Wow, that's pretty crazy. So he's fighting Josh Culibao. Josh Culibao's been pretty good. He's like your ultimate. I guess you explained Walter Walker as a grinder. I feel like Culibao's kind of a grinder, or just kind of very good in all aspects of the game. Let me give you the odds here, ladies and gentlemen, if I can pull them up. We have minus 150 for Josh Culibao. Ricardo Ramos is a plus 124, 125. Underdog. That makes sense. I mean, Ricardo Ramos has kind of been hit or miss. I think he's 7-5 in his UFC career. You really just don't know what version of him is gonna, show up, or if he's gonna have success here. Ty, what do you got here?
I I feel like Ramos is kind of like a Diaz brother cousin
Yeah.
type fighter, just on a lower level. You know, he's kind of skinny fat. He's tough, sometimes low volume. He has a submission victory over Melsick, but Melsick's not. He has no ground game at all. He's like I said, Coolbow's a kind of a. He's just a dog. You know, it doesn't matter what's going on. He's going to come forward. I do like Ricardo Ramos. I think he's much more talented, but he has quit in his last two fights. Very solid competition for sure, but he just tends to be flaky. It seems like even before the UFC, he was on Dana White looking for a fight, and he got tapped out in like a minute and a half. And then the next fight, I think Dana White was like right there too, front row. Then he comes back, wins, and then he gets a UFC chance. So, but yeah, Julian Erosa, Charles Jourdain, both in the first round, both by guillotine. Now both of them have good guillotines. Both of them are no joke on the ground. So I kind of want to give a break for that, you know. But his last win was Danny Chavez. Before that was Bill Algeo in 2021. Lerone Murphy smoked him. Zabara Tukagov. Again, these are kind of good fighters that he's losing to, though. You know, Said Nurmagomedov to the body. So I think Ricardo Ramos is a little susceptible to certain things, certain fighters. I just don't know if Josh Coolbaugh it fits that category. I think, honestly, I think Ricardo Ramos comes out here and gets a sub. He had a couple takedowns in his fight against Erosa. Again, had a couple takedowns against Jourdain. Just got caught in a guillotine. I don't see him getting caught in another guillotine here in this fight. There's, no way. Had 8 takedowns against Bill Algeo. Was close in the sub. I actually almost had a rear naked choke, I believe, on Charles Jourdain as well. I don't believe in Josh Coolbaugh's grappling whatsoever. 67% takedown defense. Danny Silva won that fight strictly off wrestling. Laura Murphy pretty much did the same thing, even though he did drop Coolbaugh. So both of them I think have lost 2 in a row. Both have been somewhat exposed in those fights. I got Ricardo Ramos sub plus 400.
Wow. I like that. I'm going to stay away from this one. I don't really have a strong inclining either way. You get Ramos sub at plus 500 on here, thanks to FanDuel.
I like it.
Thank you, FanDuel.
I like it.
For all you've done.
Love it.
Thank you, FanDuel, for everything have you done. That's a good bet there for Ricardo Ramos. He needs to bounce back, and this is the perfect kind of opportunity for him to bounce back. Somebody's got to bounce back here in this matchup. But next, we have this is your girl, right? Yep. We got Casey O'Neill. Casey O'Neill, she has let us down so many times. So many. I think just 2, but so many. It's even when she wins, sometimes she lets us down. It's tough. She's fighting Luana Santos. I know you're a huge fan of Luana Santos.
I like both these ladies.
Yeah, this has got to be tough. For you to decide which lady you're going to support or back here in this instance. We got minus 135 for Luana Santos, plus 115, 120 for Casey O'Neill. Ty, I got to say right away, I don't think I can bet Casey O'Neill here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, she tore her ACL, and she kind of hasn't really looked the same. Maybe she just needed some time off or some time to get healthy, really, and kind of fight through it. But and she is young. I think she's 26, and Santos is 24. They're both super young. They're both super green. They're both super talented. But O'Neill has good cardio. She's tough. She's mean. She's a pretty good scrambler, but she just lacks athleticism. My phone is just doing all kinds of things. It's kind of funny. Just random things are opening. It's like looks like it's so. Like, what is this? I didn't even know this.
The Gov's hacking.
Didn't even know I had this as an app, dude. I didn't know this was an app. And what else? Oh, yeah. I was going to say, is this kind of a market correction, or do you think this fight is lined right? I think I could see more on Santos here. I think she's super talented, still kind of green, but I think she has a huge grappling advantage, and I think she will look to go to it and look for a finish. I think she's not somebody that has an advantage somewhere, but just doesn't look to use it. She looked to use it right away on Agapova. She flipped Stephanie Egger. She's the one who tossed a judoku. The Juliana Miller fight, she just said, this chick is a punching bag. I'm going to go out and beat the dog shit out of her. Her loss to Jenna Bishop back in the day doesn't look that bad. I mean, Jenna Bishop's in PFL. She's lost 2 in a row to Tyler Santos. Very close fight, and she got finished by Dakota Dacheva. But that chick's pretty good, Jenna Bishop. Yeah. So I don't hold that against her. It was also a split. It was also in 2022. I got Luana Santos sub Let's go. Back-to-back subs, baby.
I'm taking it as well. The way she just got kind of rolled up by Ariana Lipski, and just that armbar came in so easily. I'll never forgive her for that Roxanne performance. So ever since then, I have been out on Casey O'Neill. So I will always fade her. Shout out Luana Santos, submission.
Let's go, man. And then twerk after the fight.
Twerk after the fight, please. Let's see. Plus 650. Wow. How about it? 650. I have some heavy numbers here on this card. I hope some of these hit. Last week I think I went 1-6. I think you went 1-7. So we need a huge bounce back week for the boys here in the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. Brought to you by the Hot Take Hotbox. We got Jack Jenkins, Herbert Burns here. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here? This is. I don't understand why Herbert Burns is still in the UFC. Oh, wait, I do. It's because his brother is probably still pulling the strings. And make sure my brother fight. Yeah, well, your brother's going to fight. And he's a plus 500, 550 underdog to Jack Jenkins. Is minus 700, 800. I don't even know if this is going to be bettable. Let me pull some of these up. Jenkins by TKO is minus 210. Submission is plus 800. Inside the distance is minus 350, so that's not bettable. So it's basically just, do you think he's going to sub him or stay away?
Yeah.
I mean, just because Herbert Burns is Brazilian and he's Gilbert Burns' brother does not mean I'm going to believe that he couldn't get subbed. Because he's never been subbed before. That almost makes me think he's going to get subbed.
He does have, I would say, he pretty much has one round in him of, dominant jiu-jitsu. After that, it's over. I mean, the last 3 fights, he's been stopped in the second round. The one says exhaustion from damage. So
that's insane.
I mean, to be that tired at the beginning of the second round is pretty wild. Jack Jenkins, nasty leg kicks, very smart. I think he's a coach as well. I think he coaches a little bit. He's gone 5 rounds before the UFC. Takes his time to get going. Sometimes is very committed to his process, whatever that may be. The leg kicks, the jabs, pretty solid boxing in a phone booth. Burns is just super dangerous jiu-jitsu in the first. That's it. After the Daniel Pineda fight, I think he's cooked. There was definitely a chance where he could pull off an upset. He's pulled off many upsets. This isn't happening. The last time Jack fought, he lost by arm injury. I believe I had him that fight. That was unfortunate. I think Jack smokes him. I think he walks through him. He's going to kick his legs out from under him. Jack Jenkins, second round, too. That could be something you play. But he might even do it in the first round, man. I think he's catching him at a very good spot. TKO is minus 225, so unfortunately, I don't think there's really anything to play here. Maybe, again, if you want to take a certain round, Jack TKO round 1 or Jack TKO round 2, you got plus 175 or plus 300. What do you think about one of those two? Because I'm definitely down to one of those two if I have to make a pick. And I do want to fade Herbert Burns. So
yeah, of course. Who doesn't? What was that number? Run that by me again.
175 TKO round 1, 300 TKO round 2.
I can't imagine he gets out of the first, but
that's what I was thinking. I just, sometimes Jack just, takes his time and Herbert likes to grapple. So maybe there's just a lot of stalling in that first round. But again, a couple leg kicks right away and, you got exhaustion from leg kicks and you're like, fuck. So, I don't know. I don't know which way I lean here. We got to go with one of the rounds.
I mean, the last time he finished the guy in the first round was, 2019 and he subbed the guy. So it's not, maybe that second round would probably be the play. Because it seems like you're right. He takes his time. Even when he's finishing some of these guys, second round, I mean, he's got one finish by TKO in the first round in this whole career. And that's against some cans here on this list. So I really want to take this submission. But I'm going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So would you gonna stay away, or you taking?
I'm gonna go round. I'm gonna go round 1 plus 175 TKO.
Jenkins round 1 TKO plus 175. All right. I like that. I like that's a good play. That's a good play. I have to. You got to pull the reins back at some point for me. I have so many plays on here already. How about? Here you go. This is your big play of the day. Your boy, Alex Reyes. That's the next fight, right?
Yeah.
I'm correct. Alex Reyes versus Tom Nolan. Now, if you don't remember who Tom Nolan is, that guy came out here and got decimated in the first 30 seconds of the fight. In his UFC debut, I believe that was in December or January. I know. No, it was January because the playoffs are going on.
Nick Moda.
Nick Moda. And then he came back and he destroyed Victor Martinez. So
Not the catcher of the Indians.
Yeah, not the catcher of the Indians or the Guardians. But he was the Indians back then. Listen, this is disgusting. I mean, I think he's a minus 1,200 favorite to Alex Reyes' plus 750. Now, we've discussed Alex Reyes' medical history here on this podcast in the past. This man, we didn't think he was going to fight again. Then he came back. He got destroyed. Ty, is there really anything to bet here?
No, probably not. Right? Maybe like Tom. What's Tom Nolan first round? Probably like minus 200. Right? I mean,
Nolan wins in round 1 is plus 100.
All right, so even money, not even great. Yeah, this is just terrible matchmaking. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything. There's not really anything to play. Tom Nolan round 1 is probably a lock. So I mean, I might as well do it. Tom Nolan round 1, even money. If there's a plus or a small one next to it, I guess I got to go.
This may not be accurate just because they're all. Now I'm seeing all the numbers are plus 100 here for each of the rounds. So that doesn't make any sense. The other line on here is minus 188 for that first round.
I see Tom Nolan TKO minus 130 on Bovada.
Okay, so you want that?
Yeah.
A couple round 1 boys here.
Yeah, who knows? You got to fade these bums,
Yeah, I don't think I want anything here. I don't know enough about Tom Nolan. I don't know. I mean, I know enough to know that Alex Reyes stinks, but I just don't know if I can trust him to go out there and finish him right away. Or I just don't know. I don't have any faith in Tom Nolan whatsoever. So I'm going to stay away from this one as well. And my computer is starting to really just disintegrate here on the spot. I'm really hoping that I can get back to the page that I was on. But what do we have? What's the next fight here?
I think we have Mr. Kenan Song.
Oh, yeah,
Kenan,
and Ricky
Mr.
Glenn.
Rick Glenn, moving up to 170 for the first time in his life. Used to fight at 145 way back in the day. So, I mean, it might be good for him because he is kind of bigger, right? I think he's like 6'1". Problem is he's taking too much damage for this to even matter. I think he might be more skilled here, but again, I'm not sure that matters. Kenan Song, low volume, but he hits hard. God, I have to stay away from something, right? Or do I? I have like 4 or 5 in a row. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from this fight. I don't know what to take, what to pick, what to think. Even, I mean, Kenan Song beat Rolando Bedoya in a fight he got out-volumed. The Kevin Jousset fight, not good. He got 2-1 in terms of strikes. And Kevin Jousset is not good. He also got a takedown on Song. Like I said, Song just, he dropped Ian Gary, and that's pretty much all he's really done in his career. Knocked out Callum Potter. Cool. Barely, went to a decision against Derek Krantz. He's fought some guys that you'd be like, who? So the assassin, he's just too low volume. He gets hit a lot. I don't really like much about his game. Ricky Glenn is somebody that we've bet before. I believe we might have had him over Silva or something like that. But 3 in a row, 2 L's and 1 draw, and those L's ended very quickly, a minute. In 2.5 minutes, Drew Dober, absolutely walked him around the cage on a leash. Christos Giagos didn't even have him on a leash. So, I think it's probably the end of the road for both these fellas. So I'm going to stay away.
Yeah. I think it's a smart bet. I'm going to stay away here as well. I probably would lean Ricky Glenn, just because I think Song Kenan is ass. But, both these guys stink. So what are we going to get all worked up about?
Nothing.
Now we must move on, Ty, to the final fight of the night that we're going to talk about. The first fight of the night that you will all see out there. Stuart Nickel. I don't know anything about this gentleman. I believe he's making his UFC debut against Jesus Aguilar. Odds-wise, we have Aguilar is a plus 200 underdog against Mr. Nickel, who is a minus 230 to 50 favorite, Ty. Do you know anything about Mr. Nickel?
Stuart Little is what I like to call him. He comes from Beatdown Promotions, which is in Aussie. I don't think he's really beat anybody worth a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about him.
Though.
He is killing these guys. Yeah, he's very hyped up, like his jiu-jitsu was. I've watched a little bit of it, and I was like, he likes to bang a little bit. He's strong. He's tough, physical. His wrestling isn't good, but he is pretty good when he gets it to the ground, when he gets on top. I just saw some people be like, yo, this is the next big thing at flyweight. I'm like, nah, man, that was on That was on Tuesday night with our boy. I forget his name. Jose. What the fuck was his name? Delgado and Lone Air Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Those are the real nice up and coming flyweights. I don't know about Stuart Little, but Jesus Aguilar is just so small, dude. Very, very. This is like a 62-inch reach. I think he is pretty much guillotine or bust. I mean, he does hit hard, but I don't even think he's the better striker here. Aguilar, forget his name already.
Stuart Nickel?
Stuart Little. He swings hard. His striking isn't bad. I'm just gonna take a shot here. I thought I'm just going over the records, seeing how they win and lose some fights. He has a couple impressive submissions. Jesus Aguilar, both of his losses are by submission. I'm going to go Stuart Little Nickel submission plus 400.
Wow. What do we have submission on here? You can get plus 410. So there you go.
Bang.
Nickel sub plus 410. I'm going to go inside the distance just to save me from maybe a TKO possibility. And I'm going to get that at plus 200. So there you go. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is UFC 305 from Perth, Australia. Biagio Ali Walsh is fighting this weekend. I wanted to point that out. I saw that while I was looking through all of these different. He is a minus 1,600 favorite, so it looks like he's fighting a Meineke car care employee this weekend. There you go.
Did you know that Biagio Ali Walsh played running back for Las Vegas or UNLV?
Did he really?
Yeah.
What made him get into this?
I guess somebody
the family name.
Somebody came call and was like, "You got to fight. You can't run the ball for shit inside the tackle." So, there's a PFL tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it looks like Impa Casagna is the main event. Well, There you go. Not many people are going to be tuning in, I assume, right?
I mean, that guy's really made a career for himself over there. He really has.
He is. Danny Sabatello was on the prelims. What a fall from grace for Danny Sabs fighting Lazaro Dayron. I'm not sure who that is, but he looks kind of scary. So Thad Jean is also in this prelim. He's fighting Chris Brown. Not that Chris Brown, but it would be more fun if we had that Chris Brown in here. Thad Jean hits fucking hard. Jordan Oliver is I believe, D1 wrestler. He's on this card as well. Yeah, PFL is kind of just, they're just there.
Yeah, I guess it's the playoffs. So
sure.
There's that. Yeah, exactly. Cassius Clay Collard's fighting Brent Primus.
Why not?
I think that's what it says on the poster. So there you go. That's happening. Biagio is also fighting as well. So there you go. He's
like Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, Brian Stapleton. I guess he's making his debut. So that's awesome. Mads Burnell also getting in there. All right. Well, I mean, at least they combined the Bellator and these guys, so you'll see some names that you recognize and some better quality, maybe hopefully in the future.
You just don't know what the format is. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
None of us really do.
What any of these fights mean, points. He's got to knock him out in the third round in order to advance to the next round. You're like, oh, what? What the fuck? Like, who the fuck cares? Doesn't really matter.
It's got to knock him out in 17 seconds.
I like when we have championship fights and things like that, and then that's that.
Titles and whatnot.
Yeah, but there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Is there any boxing we must pay attention to?
Saturday night starts at 9, ESPN Plus. Top Rank putting on another pretty good card. This is coming from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Oh, boy. So we're in French-Canadian land, so that's going to be fun. Christian and Billy, the big-time 168 prospect, hits like a fucking truck. He's fighting Sergey Derevyanchenko.
There he is.
I'm not sure how much more Derevyanchenko has left in the tank. He's 38, had fight of the year in 2023. Now he's fighting an absolute missile of a human. Solide. I'm not sure what that means, but he's from Cameroon by way of France. Christian Mbili is probably going to get the win here, but it's a huge test. If he can run through Sergey, he's going to put himself right at the top of 168. And there's people that are looking for fights at 168, so that would be good for him. Our boy is back in the co-main, Arslanbek Makhmudov. Let's get back in there. His nickname is the Lion. He's 35. Remember, he lost to Agit Kabayal on that Day of Reckoning card. Remember that? He's like, yo, I quit after like 5 minutes. He did fight. He did get a win after that, but he's back here against our boy Guido Vanello. I'm not sure, he's only minus 333, Arslanbek, so maybe Guido can pull a rabbit out of his dirty Italian hat. We'll see. There's also two hot chicks fighting each other, so that's fun. They're fighting for a belt. Jahi Tucker, the prospect from, I don't know if he's from Ohio. or New York. I think he's from New York. He's fighting on this card. He's 11-1, trying to bounce back from a loss. There's a good Cuban prospect at 168, Osles Iglesias. Abdullah Mason, probably my favorite prospect. He's only 20 years old. He's the one from Cleveland. 14-0. He's somebody that you can probably put right in there with some championship-level fighters at 135. He's fighting on this card. There's a couple undefeated Canadian guys fighting on this card. And I think that's pretty much it. So, yeah, it's a decent little card on ESPN+. So if you're not doing anything that night, you're going to have it running coincidentally with the UFC. So better fire up that laptop that you got dust off the cobwebs for.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure. When's my boy Subriel Matias fighting again, dude? I need my boy.
Well, he took an L, and ever since then, I think that his stock has fallen. El Orgullo de Maternillo is what they call him on the streets. After losing to Liam Paro, I'm not really sure, but I will let you know whenever I get word of it, and I'll let you know. But he is 32, so time is ticking.
I need him to start finishing people again. I need that in my life. So there you go. That is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast brought to you by the Hot Take Hotbox. My name is Matt McSweeney.
I am Ty Capone.
And ladies and gentlemen, as always, make sure to, if you're drinking beverages this weekend, make sure you put some ice, put it in a blender, freeze that motherfucker up because it is going to be a hot one.